So by missing consultation in many ways on these things, by coming out with policies that set directions without examining what is actually required, by putting forward ideas that are kind of like building monuments to our sovereignty rather than looking at the solutions that we require for our sovereignty, we're really failing Canadians. You know, when you go back in the ages, I think of the Colossus at Rhodes. Maybe the Conservatives would like to build a Colossus on the Northwest Passage to indicate our ownership of that area. Maybe that's in their mind somehow, that the grandiose gesture is more important than the practical work of government, making international arrangements, directing scientists into research in the areas that are required. Those types of things have a greater potential future for our country than that. On another issue, you know, right now in the Arctic, of course, we're expanding the use of the Beaufort Sea. We've opened up some fairly major drilling areas offshore, and these are going ahead. But, Mr. Speaker, interestingly enough, for probably the major pollution issue that we'll have, the major catastrophic pollution issue that we'll likely to encounter in the Arctic, the potential for oil spills, for spills of a large nature in our Arctic waters, we don't have the capacity to deal with those. So probably one of the things that should be foremost on the government's agenda right now is coming up with the technology that's required to deal with Arctic water oil spills. Wherever there's more than 35% ice in the water, the science of cleaning up oil spills is very limited. We need to have a program that will allow this to happen. This will protect our environment, more likely to protect our environment than any bill that we pass here, any Arctic Research Center we set up in a single location. This is the sort of effort that we need right now to protect our Arctic. It was pointed out to the government last year when the drilling sites were sold, when the opportunity for the companies to move into the Beaufort Sea was given. This lack was pointed out to the government. We haven't seen a response yet on this item. We need to see that kind of a response. You know, our capacity is limited. We don't have the human resource capacity and the technological capacity to protect the Arctic environment. We don't have the capacity to do the research to understand what is likely to happen in the Arctic. We're not going to get that with facilities. What we need is a clear plan for Arctic research, followed up by dollars invested in Canadian scientists across this country who want to do the research there. We also need to work with the international community so that we're not doubling up our research, that we're creating the linkages between the countries that will allow the research to flourish, and that the understanding of how to deal with the Arctic condition will be something that we will want to have every Arctic country understand. You know, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to defending Canadian sovereignty in the Arctic, we do need to stand up for the environment. That is a good direction to take. It is important that not only in the 100-mile area off our coast, but the 200-mile area off the coast, that we protect the environment. But it's also very important when we think of the Arctic ice melting all the way to the North Pole to consider how we're going to protect the environment right up to there. And we can't do that without international agreements. We can't do that without international understanding of the issues. We need to see that kind of approach from this government. It's that simple. Capacity is important as well. It's not good enough simply to put this bill forward without some understanding of how we're going to make people compliant with it. how we're going to enforce the regulation that's in place, how we're going to ensure that what happens to the environment, we have the answers to fix it when accidents occur, and most likely they will. Mr. Speaker, I hope that over the next while with this bill, we'll look at these issues. We know that this bill has merit. We see that it's important, but we need to see the government say more than it has already about this issue. We need to see the government come forward with a more detailed plan for the protection of our Arctic waters. When they do that, Mr. Speaker, we'll have a solution that all Canadians will subscribe to and support. And to our hardworking minister, let's put some hardworking thought into what we're doing here, and we'll come up with great answers for Canadians. Thank you.
Questions and comments? Questions and commentaires. The Honourable Minister of Transport.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I don't have any questions, just a comment to thank the member for his speech. I share his commitment to wanting to protect the environment in the far north. I've had the opportunity on a number of occasions to visit the far north to many communities in his constituency. There are some of the great environmental treasures of the world, whether it's Nahanni National Park, which this government is working very hard to expand, whether it's the significant amount of environmental initiatives that are going on there. I know that's important not just to his constituents but to all Canadians, and I appreciated learning about the various issues from airports to the far Arctic and the need to promote sovereignty abroad. The single biggest thing we can do, though, is not just talk the talk, but walk the walk and take significant and meaningful actions, which we're doing. I look forward, Mr. Speaker, to the day that we launch the Bevington breaker up in the far north, maybe in Tuktoyaktuk, and I hope the honourable member will be there for what will be a great occasion.
The Honourable Member for Western Arctic.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I can't guarantee that I'll be there that long, but I do hope that we see progress on this. I don't look at the Arctic issues as a partisan issue at all. I look on them as something where we can bring Canadians together. We can have the opportunity to do something right in a region of this country that hasn't had things done wrong to it yet. So I'm very strong on that. It's just like the territory I represent, the Northwest Territories. I feel very strongly what we do there has to be a model of the future. It can't be the answers that we've seen in the past. It can't be done less than full-hearted. And when it comes to devolution and the responsibility of Northerners, I say to all Canadians, if you want to have a real stake in the development of the North, come up and live with Northerners. That'll give you the same rights to say things about the North as Northerners have. I don't want us to be considered anything less than full-class citizens in this country. If the minister, this government, wants to decide what to do about the Arctic, it must take into account what the people of the North want, what the people of the North think about their land. That is the primary direction that the government should be taking with Northern policies. And if they're not, you'll see me standing up here over and over again. If you are, you'll see a spirit of cooperation and you'll see a spirit of goodwill.